Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be talking to you. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thanks, man.
So, well, let's start off talking about Uncanny. Let me start with the boring question, then I promise I'll get more interesting, okay? Tell us, for people who haven't seen the movie, just tell us a little bit about the film and your character in it.
Uncanny is a sci-fi film that is executed in a way that typical sci-fi films are not. It's basically three people in a room, and I think it's a testament to the performances in the film and the direction that it doesn't really occur to you until about halfway in that how contained the setting is, because you're really watching this pretty intense character study of a reclusive roboticist who's being interviewed for the first time after being in seclusion for a while, kind of unveiling the world's first perfect artificial intelligence, and it's really this really beautiful character study that's just folded into this sci-fi genre.
Right. That's actually one of the things I was going to ask you about. That was a perfect segue into my next question. Because it is a science fiction film, there's no doubt, but really it's about these three characters and their sort of relationships. Was that evident early on in the script, or was that something that developed more as you filmed it, that it kind of went from being sci-fi to this, character drama?
Yeah, no, it was totally. I mean, that was the main draw for me. It was very apparent. I mean, our writer of the film is really a brilliant guy, and it was all our approach, pretty much straight across the board, that we weren't really making a sci-fi movie, quote unquote. We were making like a love story. It was, it's a love triangle.
Right.
And I mean, that's certainly how I approached it. What my character did, and in it about, it being about artificial intelligence, obviously is the main thrust of the plot and the theme, but at its core, its heart, soul, it's a love triangle.
Right. With also, I wanted to ask you about, just being the three of you in sort of this fairly contained set. Was that a different experience for you as far as filmmaking goes, or because it's almost more like a stage play in a way, in that respect?
Yeah, it definitely felt very very theatrical at moments. For sure, it definitely felt like we were doing a play. I mean, we were. I've done one other film in 12 days, but that there were various different locations, and this was definitely a little pressure cooker that we'd put ourselves in. But the good thing is that the actual circumstances of the limitations that we had in going into shooting actually kind of propelled the tension that the movie, I think, does a really great job of conveying.
Right.
And yeah.
And and with just the three of you, as the film gets more and more tense, does that make it challenging to be spending 12, 16 hours a day together for that short of time? Did you guys have a chance to relax on set too and have fun?
I mean, Matthew, the director, is just like, for someone who, any other director in that situation could have just like totally lost their shit. But he was, he's just a really cool, easygoing guy with like a great sense of humor. And I just remember like dying of laughter, like all the time. I mean, we'd all reach this kind of crazy state of delirium, and I'm trying to like say huge technical words that I don't even really know. I'm trying to remember like massive amounts of text that are like the furthest thing from like any of my life experience. And so there were moments that like were just hilarious if you were to see kind of behind the scenes. And I think that it was good to have that. It was good to have fun, while we were making this. It definitely took the edge off of kind of the actual intensity of the experience.
Right. Now, excuse me, I'm gonna stay very spoiler free here, but I'm curious about this. Your character has a very sort of dual nature to him, is what I will say. Was it difficult to try and find the right balance in that as you were portraying him and sort of remembering where you were at with things? What was that like? Because I thought that was a really, really cool aspect of your character.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that was it. I mean that's the big kahuna. That was the main kind of device and the choice that I was always having to navigate through in my mind. And so I really just approached it. Matthew was really on top of it. I just had to kind of find this odd cadence to my speech pattern that could not seem too mechanical,
right.
But also, so that's what made it challenging, was to find something to root it in who this character was, who might come across as smug or a little bit detached or cold. And then, of course, I think, as you know, when you see the movie, I think that explains a little bit of the oddity surrounding his personality. And so it was definitely something fun to play around with.
Sure. And then you mentioned all the sort of technobabble, and I did notice that as I was watching the film. Did you take any time to figure out what you were talking about at all, or was that important to you, or was it more like Star Trek, where it's like, oh, here's a bunch of words, let me throw them out and get to the good stuff?
Oh no, I totally had to know what it was, 'cause otherwise things don't stick in my brain unless I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And for someone who prides himself on being trying to be as real as possible, I really need to feel grounded in okay, what the fuck what is this nano blobbity bloopity blop thing,
Yep.
And the great thing is that our writer was just an incredible kind of walking encyclopedia, just the ultimate resource to be able to go and be like, okay, so what is this? What is this? And then there'd be some times where he'd start to explain kind of the concept behind some of the things that I was saying, and I'd even have to be like, okay, but what is even that? Okay? What are we, and so it was a great kind of lesson in this throughout the making of it, which was really fun, which is really one of the main reasons why I wanted to do the movie, was to kind of delve into and explore a world that is so far removed from my daily life.
Right. Now, some of the more recent roles that I've really enjoyed you in, like in Laggies and For a Good Time Call, have been much more rooted in the humorous side of things. So, you tend to get to go back and forth a lot between the humorous roles and dramatic roles. So is there something that you prefer, or what attracts you to a role? Is it the genre, or is it just a great script? What brings you to it?
Oh, I generally, it's about who's making the movie, and then it's, about the story. And I don't know, it could be anything, any genre, any scale. It's just about, really into who's making the film and why they're making it, and if it's a good story, and that's really it. It's as simple as that for me.
And real quick, I know that you also obviously had a role in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which wasn't a huge hit at the box office, but has a very devoted fan following. What is it about the film that you think resonates with people so much?
Because it's just awesome.
Yep.
Just awesome. That movie's undeniably awesome. It's a fluke that thing didn't just destroy it at the box office, and everyone knows that, and everyone who sees it, straight across the board, is that movie's phenomenal. and the fans
Right.
of that movie are like, it's just extraordinary. And Edgar Wright is a genius, and everyone knows it, and that's why.
Right.
It's just Edgar, and then also just an extraordinary cast, all at a very particularly interesting time in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
That came together, I think, and then Brian Lee O'Malley, the source material and the graphic novels that it was based off of. It's just, and then you have like, Beck wrote all my songs that I sang, and Nigel Godrich, from Radiohead, produced the album that I recorded. I mean, you just don't really get much better than those type of people in those positions to come together and make a film.
Awesome. Well, I know my time is coming to an end, so Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, likewise. Thanks so much.